What up, twins? Welcome to Twin Flame Game Series. And today we're going to talk about money blocks and how you overcome those. This was a very big one for me on the journey, but I'm going to say that if you grew up in a house where money was free flowing, or you've never suffered for money or had to fight for money, then this may not come up. I don't know, because it sure did for me. But and there's many aspects to it that you'll go through with money and the illusion of money and all of those things. So this may have to be like a 3-part session. I'm so used to bodybuilding crap. This may have to be like a 3-part video, because I'm going to go through the core beliefs first, because then you'll get into manifesting and all that stuff. But when it comes to manifesting, if you have those core beliefs, you can manifest all day, but nothing's going to happen until you change those core beliefs. So that's where we're going to start. And so you guys will have a better idea of where the money blocks are coming from. So, okay. So it all stems back from when you were a little mini twin. And, you may have heard money doesn't grow on trees, or you hear like rich people like must be nice, or this person's worth this much money, or that there's a shortage of money, or whatever you've heard that you have created a belief. Maybe I should have done a video on beliefs first, but I'll do one on that too. But basically the 3D is a lie. And so everything that we have been told when we were young, we believe. So if we were told that money doesn't grow on trees, or, ask your dad, or we can't afford that, whatever it is. So you start to create this, you start to think of money as higher than you, so you start to want it more, you start to create negativity around money, because everything, it sounds like you have to bust your ass to get money, or money's the root of all evil, or whatever it is that you've heard growing up. So like, say you heard growing up that money was endless. That was your only belief you heard your whole life. We would believe that, right? But we don't hear that growing up. So, we're never going to believe that. But we can change our beliefs, because how did we get that belief in the first place? You know what I'm saying? Somebody told us. So that's where we got it from. And so we just created these beliefs. They're all lies and illusions, but we don't know that. If the color blue, if we grew up thinking it was called red, we would believe that. And if somebody told us it was actually blue, we'd be like, no, it's fucking red. So those are just beliefs that we have, because we grew up, we learned that. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, and you, like, if you think about, like, what do you think about money? You're like, I love money. But that's just what you're logically thinking. Logically, we love money, but we actually don't in our core beliefs. Okay, so first you have to identify the lies, the core beliefs. And I had a lot of different ways I tried to do that, because I didn't know what I was doing. But something that helped me a lot, and it also helps you with your intuition and your spirit guides and your higher self. So we're gonna do a little like prompt, a little test. So like I said, it sounds like we believe that we love money, but so okay, so I've tried to talk to you guys before about I'm not talking about. I have explained before about listening to your intuition, but if you haven't watched that video, so, okay, so like, say, should I contact my twin? That very first one that's very calm, with no emotion at all, is the first answer. So, like, should I contact my twin? No. And then you logically go, yeah, I think I should. I feel the pull. I should. That's not your intuition. That first calm one that you hear, and it almost comes in, you can hear it before you finish the thought. So, should I contact? No. That's the intuition. Okay, so when I ask you these questions, that very first thought is your intuition, is your core belief of what you think about money. Okay, so if you want to jot it down, like pause it and get a piece of paper or whatever, but really just, you're not going to forget. You're going to be like, damn, I didn't even know I thought that about money, you know? So, okay, so I wrote them down because I'll forget. But, okay, so the first one's going to be, and it's going to be that first answer. Don't logically think it after, you know? So it's going to be, you know, money equals, so that's, what does money equal to you? What was that very first thought? And then my father felt like money was, so, you know, scarce or hard to make, whatever it is, you know. Then my mother felt like money was usually hard to make, scarce, very few, far between, tight, you know, like they're definitely thinking something crazy. So, you know, the whole, my mom, anytime, like, oh, we don't have the money, or man, ask your dad, you know, is always something. So that's a real, you know. Okay. I believe money is, that very first answer. And then, let's see what else I put. When I have money, my first thing was spend it. You know, it's like, that's weird. You know, you don't know. Okay. When I have money, whatever that is. And then in order to have more money, I would need to, you know, work harder or be smarter or whatever it is that comes to you. So do those, you know, just that very first one. It is not at all. So like if you're like, you know, my mother thought about money and it was like that we never had it or hard to make, you know, but then you're gonna be like, but she worked her ass off and no, not that. She believed money was hard to make. Therefore, you believed money was hard to make. If your mom believed money was endless, that it flows to her, that you can spend as much as you want, that you will never run out, that you will always be taken care of, that you'll make it. If that was engraved in you, you probably wouldn't have those crazy money blocks, you know. Of course, you can create your own. You create more money blocks as an adult, just off of fucked up circumstances, you know. But the main core ones are from false beliefs that we were told. So I need to do a video on limiting beliefs, because that's the main, like, when you guys can see above the illusion that literally every single thing is just something that somebody told us that we chose to believe, you know? So you can also choose not to believe that and change them. And yes, changing your mindset and all that. And that's what you want to do in the beginning. But pretty soon you're going to know that you don't do shit with your mind, you know? Like, you don't. And so that's the core of it, of starting to understand that that's not true. Okay, so after that, then you start trying to change your beliefs, and you're like, well, fuck, how do I do that? How do I do that? So what I started with and was like affirmations. So I would be like, money flows to me. I would listen to these things, you know, like it's like music, and it would just be like a meditation, you know, I'm abundant and all of these things. And it would make me feel lighter, and it does help. However, if you still have those core beliefs, you're still blocking believing that. You know, you can tell yourself that, or you have to change the ideas that were told to you when you were little. So and you can move the energy too, to release it when you are talking about this and you're trying to understand it. And I did it too. And I don't know if it works or not, but like I did, you tap to move stagnant energy. And so I found these like the money tapping spots. And so like you would, I'll show you guys. So like, it looks kind of dumb, but whatever. I don't care. I already did that Kundalini yoga one, which was dumb. So, um, but so you'll tap, like karate chop and right here, and you're going to tap and say like, you know, even though I have fear around money, I still love and accept myself. Even though I have fear around money, I still love and accept myself. And then you'll go like, you know, I'm abundant, you know, love and light. I mean, you say whatever you want about money. Like, even though I fear money, I still believe that I can make it now, and I'm changing my beliefs and whatever you want. Okay, so you tap here and you can tap here, and you just keep saying whatever you want, or you can even change it after you say like, even though I'm fearful of money, and you're tapping. Once you do those, then you can change that and just make it money flows to me. Money flows to me. You know, I'm abundant. Money's endless. Money's, you know, you'll go in these. So I always just did this one. I would do like 10, this one. I would do this. I don't know. I did this. But so it's the same as moving energy. The Kundalini energy is the same moving stagnant energy. So acupressure, acupuncture, it's the same thing. Does it work? I don't know, because I was doing everything possible to get past the money box. Because, you know, they'll start, once you are starting to understand, then they start testing you, and they will withhold money from you. I mean, I would feel the pressure of all this money that needed to come in, and they would hold that shit back to you until you resonated with something, and then boom, it would all come in. It would be crazy, and I would start getting really scared of the universe, because I'm like, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know. You know, I was getting like, it was crazy. But anyways, so once you start going into, you know, trying to change your beliefs by doing lots of affirmations and understanding limiting beliefs. I will have to do probably a bunch of those, because limiting beliefs is the root of all evil, not money. So okay, so then after that, you will purge those, and you don't purge like a certain specific thing, like, oh, I remember that moment about money, but it's a lot of crying and laughing, and like you'll purge, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, money does flow to me, and that is when, so that's when all the start to want to get rid of all your stuff, and you start to realize that I'm holding on to old energy, and you have to get rid of the old to bring in the new. And that's when you start getting the pull to get rid of all your stuff. And once you start doing that, you will see a change in the universe, and they will start to replace these things. And when you start to understand that abundance isn't just in money. I mean, money is just a paper thing that we made up, you know. So then you start to be like it would be random things, like my daughter would get money, or you know, something would work out, and you're like, wow, or they give you something, and you're like, wow, I'm abundant. You know, you start to see that everything can be everything can be abundant, because you'll start magnetizing everything in. So okay, so you're gonna start doing that, and then you're gonna start getting into manifesting money. I didn't stay long in this one, because I really got into the limiting beliefs when I really understood, and that was when I started getting in connection with my spirit guides, and I realized that manifesting is still, I don't want to say this right now, because people are going to be like, no, it's not. I'm like, it's still control. It's still a little bit of control. It's still a little bit of not trusting the universe. I'll go over all that. I mean, manifesting is great, because, and you know, once you get to the third eye, that's when all the manifesting and all that stuff comes in. But like I said in many videos, there's another level, if that crown chakra opens, that you don't need to use tools anymore. You don't need tarot anymore. You don't need anything, because you don't need to manifest. You don't need memory boards. You don't need anything, because you know that everything is free flowing. You know, and money that by this time is being magnetized to you, and you start to lose it starts to fall off of the stool you had money on. So like before, I remember when I would get a bunch of money in my account, I'd be like, yeah, and I'd look at my account, or you know, if I was getting low, I would keep checking my balance, you know, stuff like that. And now I don't think about money in any type of way. As it comes in, as it goes, it doesn't bother me, you know, like even like, I mean, lots of beliefs, even like people that are really prude and just save money for their retirement, that means they don't believe, you know, that they're going to be able to make more money. And when you do that, that also is a block because money is free flowing. It has to come in as it goes out. But you know, you can't spend more than you're making and stuff like that. You have to know that you will always have enough. And so but once you get higher up, like I said, you don't need any tools or manifesting or anything like that because you are money. I mean, you don't need any of that stuff, but we don't need to get there yet because I just want you guys to get the core beliefs and then I'll do other videos on those. But it's all about the limiting beliefs. So once you start doing that, so just start with finding out your core beliefs. Just say those like, my mom used to think that money was, and my mom used to think that money, that, you know, my mom used to think that we were just born in that generation. You know, we weren't lucky like some people born into money. And, you know, that money was really, my mom made me feel like I had to hustle for my money and that money doesn't grow on, you know, my mom made me feel, so if I think about my mom about money, my mom still has a ton of limiting beliefs about money. And don't try to change their beliefs though, because they don't fucking like it. Stay in your limiting beliefs over there. But, so that's what it starts with. It's changing the belief, you guys. And the more you just stay with it, watch the illusion, listen to Illusion of Money with Kyle Cease. He really just made me understand that everything is just a vibration and you just have to align with everything. So when you're like trying to manifest all this money and you believe that you're doing all these rituals and all this stuff, I mean, you're going to get past all that. But honestly, I'm not deterring you from that. Do it because that's all of those things that you dive into, even if it's manifestation, or that could be the lead to your purpose. Because, you know, some people teach about that. So you don't know. So dive deep into everything, you guys, that you're interested in, because all of a sudden, you know, that may be your purpose. That may help you shift or whatever. So I'm not talking shit on manifestation, but you're gonna live up on that. Dude, why do my videos start getting weird? I don't know. Earlier I started recording and I had sunglasses on my head and I was like, oh man, so I took them off. But anyways, so that's basically the very beginning, is changing the belief. So we're gonna start there. Let me know what you guys think.